Coming up next, we'll have the session on game-changing future of Web3 entertainment. Web3 promises to be a game changer in the evolution of the internet. Many have high hopes that Web3 will create a more equitable and empowering ecosystem for entertainers to thrive. And we're delighted to have our panelists here to share their opinions with us. So now, without further ado, may I invite our moderator, Mr. Guillermo Ginesta, Managing Director, Hong Kong Brinc Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our moderator, Mr. Ginesta.
Thank you.
So now I'll pass the floor to you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and participants at the Digital Entertainment Leadership Forum, good morning and welcome to Cyberport. Really excited to be here. My name is Guillermo. I'm the Managing Director of Brinc Hong Kong. We are a venture accelerator. We support startups and we support game-changing entrepreneurs. We provide them capital, we provide them support, anything they need in order to grow. Now, we think that entrepreneurs are the main drivers to solve some of society's biggest problems. We think that their emerging technology ideas and their approach to market can solve for digital inclusivity, for user empowerment, and for financial equality. That's why this panel, to me personally, is quite important and very relevant, and for a couple of other reasons as well. One, it's still early in the morning, and hopefully I have your attention still. And three, because of the panelists. Very excited to bring them on. It is a hard act to follow Nolan, Yad, and Laura, but I am very confident that these founders will give you some good insights, keep the energy up, as they are thought leaders in the Web3 space, and they're paving the way to mass adoption. So with that, please help me welcome them on to stage. First up, thank you. Please, come on up, come on up. Mr. Jason Gu, CEO of NetEase, Ms. Linda Chan, founder at Moonland, and and Andrew Choi, CEO and founder of SuperNormal. Morning. So,
morning.
For the first question, please let's spend about 30 seconds introducing yourself, your company, and why do you think Web3 can be so important for the transformation of digital entertainment?
Sure.
Andrew, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so my name is Andrew. I actually come from engineering background. I spent 6-7 years in Silicon Valley as a software engineer and tech lead. Notably, latest companies I've worked for include Coinbase, Microsoft, LinkedIn, Snapchat. And at Coinbase, I was tech lead, powering the infrastructure for many of the offerings like Coinbase.com, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase NFT. And right now, I'm the CEO and founder of SuperNormal, the top-grossing Web3 IP brand in Korea, with focused on K-pop, Korean entertainment, and premium art.
Thank you. Linda, a little introduction on why you think Web3 is so important for digital entertainment?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Linda. I'm the co-founder of Moonland. So I started Moonland actually while I was at Cyberport. I actually co-founded a Web3 studio, and then later we incubated a Metaverse project, and later become Moonland Metaverse. So I think Web3 is important in the sense that I think it reflects what the younger generation want for their futures. And they were, some of them were experiencing something very unusual in our human history. There was pandemic, and everyone knows that was when Web3 and some of the very hot topics like NFT, Metaverse really becomes something everyone noticed, right? And that's driven by a lot of events, and these are some of the things that will impact the younger generation. So we want to focus on building something that will becomes what will be their focus in their career and personal life and their social lives. So I think this is some of the areas we can explore for today's sessions.
Thank you, Linda. And Andrew? An introduction to NetEase, Jason, an introduction to NetEase and a little bit of your views on why Web3 is so important for digital entertainment. Yes, please go ahead. I think you have some slides prepared.
Hey, I'm Jason, the general manager of NetEase blockchain. I am in Web3 world 6 years, and I make so many projects like NetEase help multi to construct their blockchain infrastructure. I am now focused on the Web3 in application and metaverse build. That's all.
Thank you, Jason. So one of the main things that we hear about Web3, it's how it can change business models, how we engage with brands, how we engage with content creators, and how users own, how they think about ownership. So tell me a little bit about how entertainment will be disrupted around business models. Maybe, Linda, we can start with you.
Yes, I think I'll mention an example outside of like my metaverse project, because on the side we also help clients like Media Asia, which is a Hong Kong movie companies who owns the franchise of The Departed, to create their NFT projects. So I think that's like a prime example of how entertainment, especially a movie franchise or movie company, can get involved. And the most direct way is to create a community with their fan base. And this fan base, like I said, they could be younger generation. They could be someone who never watched the movie when it was first showing, and they want to get involved, right? But the way they want to get involved is through the new technology, through Web3, through decentralized identity, and using virtual assets, and join this community to really understand the project or their ideas from this perspective. So I think to look at this, there are a lot of opportunities for franchise to kind of like regenerate themselves, like to actually bring those of some of like really cool movie franchise back to life.
Thank you, Linda. So you think franchises can leverage Web3 by connecting with their community and their audience?
Yeah, you can think of it as a, like, let's say if there's like a Godfather franchise, right? That could be some movie for a very long time, but it's a good movie, right? The younger generation should know. But nowadays they want to understand it through things like metaverse, through Web3 communities, through NFT that they can use for their PFP, and they want to join the discussion in such a space. So I think it's good to really think of connecting the younger generation in this way, and also to think of another way to promote the franchise, which is very different from the days when they first started the movie.
Thank you. Andrew, what do you think is the main business or the main new business model that Web3 can help with?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. Web3, what new business model do you think will be the main one to support digital entertainment?
I think it's all about the governance and the participation from the fan base. And the close CEO of mine who works at a major K-pop entertainment company, he actually coined the term which combines producer and consumer that equates to prosumer, meaning that the consumers not only are in this digital age consuming and reading and digesting contents, but they're actually actively participating as a producer, meaning that based on certain IPs of their favorite K-pop boy bands or girl groups, they'll, for example, create a second NFT project, or to create a derivative item, or create their own secondary illustrations and contents. So I think it's when Web2 was really about just one-way media direction, now Web3 is allowing for a bi-directional prosumer digital age.
Thank you. I'll come back to that because you said some important things about content creators. I just want to hear from Jason. What do you think about business models in the Web3 and digital entertainment space?
In the Web3, in the Web3 business model, it is very different from the traditional product. I take the game. I take a Web3 game for example. In the Web3 game, the traditional game are only the virtual tools are only a consumer consumption. But in the Web3 game, players can truly own their own limited in-game assets and freely trade them. They can benefit from the value application from these assets. Make them both investors and players. It can this decentralized approach can broaden the game ecosystem and allow for broader dissemination.
Thank you. So democratization of access is important for all three of you. So how do you see Web3 blurring the lines between creators and consumers? Linda?
Yes, I think this is a very good question. To think of it, right, Web3 communities, obviously there are a lot of users who just buy your NFT and just, maybe join the chat. But to think of it, there's more to their responsibility because there's an idea of DAO, which means you can vote with the rights of owning the NFT or some other tokens, and you could influence the direction of the franchise development or the movie development. So you can maybe say there's a script, and then everyone can just give their opinions and even vote about which is the best content to go into the production. So in that sense, everyone becomes creator or become part of this creation. And when the final outcome of the movie is here, I think everyone can see their involvement, which means we are both producer and the consumer of this new entertainment services.
Thank you. Andrew, what do you think about that, blurring the lines between the creators, consumers?
Yeah, I think as Linda mentioned, it's really harmonizing the boundary between what consumers consume and what producers produce. So for example, not only is it removing the hierarchy in a vertical direction, I think it's really evening the playing field for the audience, for the buyers, the collectors, the investors, and the founders and the creators and the what used to be the executives. So in the previous digital age, it's really been one way where creators create their vision, put out their roadmap, and then execute. And then the medium for getting a feedback from the audience has really been lacking. However, right now, as Linda said, there's DAOs, there's NFT communities, there's Web3 ecosystem. Actually, everybody's has this soul of ownership, and everybody has the mindset of wanting to improve this whole ecosystem or the group that they stand for. So, for example, at SuperNormal, as a founder, I actually make a lot of decisions based on what our holders, our consumers, and what our audiences want and what they're pushed for. And because of this cyclic, healthy cycle, you actually have much more positive and happy audience and community compared to what would have been in the Web2 community.
Thank you. So one of the main things that Yad and Nolan covered earlier is about this approach to digital ownership. The end consumer are able to finally own their digital assets. So where does security play a role in entertainment? Linda, maybe we'll start with you.
I think obviously we're dealing with transactions online. And that means, everyone has to have the security in mind, just how you handle stuff like bank accounts, especially now we're talking about cryptocurrency and crypto wallets involved. So I think generally security applies to users who want to participate, and they will have to participate through owning their own crypto assets and crypto wallets. And the other aspect of security to consider is actually, to identify the projects, because there are obviously a lot of entertainment projects, and some of them can be quite anonymous, right? So just be careful, looking into all this narrative of these projects on Web3 communities, and be sure that you know how to protect your assets and how to protect your interests the best whilst you serve all these Web3 projects, and also in the Web3 space when you're in metaverse, and obviously there's another layer of security talking about how you interact with other peoples, and how you can be in a secure digital environment.
Thank you. Jason, how does NetEase think about security in the Web3 space?
Personally, I think personally, I very believe that the Web3 game is the future. In the few years, many people equate Web3 game with GameFi. But not so what I would say. They are totally different. GameFi only treat game only as a shell. It is still be a DeFi product, but the Web3 game must have strong content. It should make efforts to be extraordinary intellectual product, offering Web3 user authentic amusement and exceptional experience. I think in the future, the emerging Web3 game marketing can generate more opportunity for the game developers.
Thank you. So Web3 entertainment is more than GameFi. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the security topic. I think the recent revelation that I've seen over the past 6-7 months, due to the uprise of hacking, scams, and a lot of security vulnerabilities out there, I've started to learn what's a good balance between having a fully decentralized ownership protocol versus having a custodial wallet where your assets and your NFTs are stored on behalf of you for those that aren't very tax savvy. So, for example, nowadays, if you go on Chrome and click on your Web3 browser and you go to some random website, it's only 2 clicks away before your assets all get compromised. So right now, I wish we could have both fully decentralized ownership where everything is non-custodial. However, at the same time, we have to make the accessibility and ease of access much lower by having some sort of custodial solution.
So, Linda, maybe we stay with that for a little bit. In order for us to achieve mass adoption of Web3 technologies across digital entertainment, not just gaming, it could be movies, it could be how we consume series or books, what do you think needs to happen next for this to achieve mass adoption? Because, as you said, it's not about being technology savvy. We can't expect everybody to understand how to keep your assets safe. What do you think should happen next?
Yes, I think that's a very good point. Not even talking about tech savvy, I think crypto may be next level form, just generally tech savvy kind of level of interest. You have to really go that length to actually understand a little bit about cryptography, why you're getting all these seed phrase when you generate a wallet, and what it means every time you sign a transaction. Because just like Jason was saying, you're just 2 clicks away from signing off your assets to some unknown or scam website. So to resolve this, I think a lot debate has been around whether we should take some control back from user meaning that, okay, we custode your assets for you. That's what some of the centralized exchanges have been doing, like Binance, some of the biggest one. They promote this kind of, user assets with a custodial of your assets, meaning that they help you manage, but at the same time, you get the full experience of just like almost like a normal virtual banking in a more traditional Web 2 world. So that makes people, user more easily recognize the pattern and get started. So I think what would be interesting is how do we create experience that is, say the wallet is fully decentralized, however the experience is centralized. Actually, I've seen some upcoming solution that is trying to resolve those. And when this can be balance between decentralized ownership and centralized experience, I think that's where we may have a takeoff for a mass adoption.
Thank you. Jason, let's talk a little bit about the next wave of adoption. We know security is very important. We know experience is very important. But as NetEase, what do you need to do to bring in the next 100 million users to blockchain?
100 million blockchain users?
New users. If we want to educate people that are not crypto savvy and bring them to blockchain for the first time, what do you need to do?
There's truly many difficulties. Also many game genres are suitable for transition to Web3 game, such as MMOs, SLG, and card game. But there's many difficult, actually take some difficulties and users for separated to see this the problem. In developers, they should face to how to adjusting the business mode, how to rebalancing their in-game economic system, how to familiar with the Web3 game users. What's their favorite, and how to develop on the game on chain. It's many problems. There are also many blockchain games can help them to help them with this transformation by consulting on-chain gaming, on-chain technology, gaming economic design, and marketing, and our game operation. So help them to much easier to this transition. To the user side, it's difficult to recognize what is the Web3 game. It's difficult to. I always think how to lower the entry barrier for not only Web3 game user but also the Web3 user, Web2 user to Web3 world. It should from the wallet, trading marketing, and some how to explain the content and payment to attract them. Let me know. Oh, this is a Web3 game. Oh, it's very interesting. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. So lowering barriers to entry is very important. So Linda, question for you. Web3 has gone through a few cycles, especially around digital entertainment. We've had GameFi and play to earn. NFT was the new word that everyone was talking about 2 years ago. About 6 months ago, it was metaverse. So how do you see the industry evolving, and how do you see user perception evolving with it?
Yes, so certainly we're going through cycles, and we currently may be at the bottom of the current cycle, which means we either going to experience something new in a bull cycle very soon, or we're going to struggle here for a little bit more. So I think everyone can notice the hype is no longer the same, right, compared to what we experienced more than 2 years ago when NFT first sold for 70 million by Christie. So I think these are all the headlines that we got, and now where we're going. A lot of users are still there. That's one thing I observe. They're not as hype because one thing they always wanted to do when our user comes to us is like, when there are so many projects, so many things going on during, say, the peak of all this happening, they really don't have time to study and get involved in all these projects they like. But now is the time everyone can really sit and, really focus on building a community that has, like a very strong bonding and actually discuss something meaningful and not just around, okay, how do we, for example, pump the price of this NFT, or how do we make more money from the GameFi? But it's actually what is the game that we all wonder, what is a business model that is sustainable. This is what Web3 users usually call a building time. So this is not something you usually get when you are rushing to sell your NFT to launch the next project. And I think a lot of cool and innovative ideas and actually developments are currently in progress. So I think this is what you actually needed, the time to actually create something and not just create a hype. So I'm interested to see, right? Like I said, I heard there's like some wallet companies that is focused on actually decentralizing the wallet, but while they give you a different experience that's more centralized, and potentially that can be the next breakthrough for the next cycle we've been all waiting. And that means we can bring more users and actually better integrate our Web3 entertainment with all these latest blockchain technology in wallet, in cryptocurrency, in smart contract. And together that could make us more sustainable, maybe in next cycle, right? So we can actually focus on building out the entertainment projects that we all like and actually find a better way to integrate them with a better experience.
Thank you, Linda. Thorough answer. So, Andrew, building on that, Linda talked about trends. Linda talked about builders building properly. So, with SuperNormal, how do you stay ahead of this rapidly changing digital landscape? How do you avoid falling onto these traps of whatever a trend may be?
As a context, SuperNormal is the top grossing NFT company in Korea with over $100 million in sales volume. So, while in the last year we focused on growing our own original IP through our SuperNormal collection, this year and next year we're really honing down on working with Web2 brands, especially the K-pop companies and entertainment agencies in Korea like SM, JYP, YG, etc. And obviously, the reason we're doing that is to integrate not only our own league of Web3, but the whole, whole world. And the way to get ahead in this is actually, ironically, being a little bit more, more slow. And what I mean by that is, we've shifted from Web2 into Web3 in a very extremely fast pace. However, in that procedure, I think we missed so many of the accessibility tools and instructions and the smooth transitions. So I think founders in this ecosystem are starting to look at Web 2.5, where it's the middle ground between Web 2 and 3, and it can still sustain both community. So, for example, with SM Entertainment that we're working, they have K-pop idols like Girls' Generation, EXO, aespa, NCT, and Super Junior. These fans aren't Web 3, aware. And these people are very much agnostic when it comes to crypto wallet, MetaMask, Trust Wallet, everything. So what we're trying to do is actually remove on the front end, remove the Web3 aspect of it. No words, NFTs, and no even interactions with working with MetaMask. Instead, we develop our own backend system that allows, custodial solution, allows, Web2 theme experience, and it's just as simple as clicking into Google or Amazon.com. And it should be buying like an Amazon product rather than working with an engineering code. So that's what we're trying to do. And for K-pop fans, we're obviously trying to provide memberships, utilities, and governance into what this K-pop collection will look like in terms of roadmap, and really trying to remove these Web3 specific methodology and vocabularies.
Thank you. So consumers can buy NFTs to engage with their favorite artists, their favorite brands. Depending on the protocol that you're building, they need to understand how wallets work, how to move from one to the other. Linda, a question for you. What are your views on interoperability, on open metaverses, and making the Web3 experience as seamless as possible for fans?
Yes, I think the development of this can be something similar to Steam, where people can browse, all kind of games. I don't think it's just one big metaverse takes it all, and it doesn't mean you have to connect to a certain metaverse, and which is like a main metaverse. I think it's healthier if we have an ecosystem that is, that allows users like an app store where you can go into games, and in that way you can actually experience all the differentiation of the metaverse, because I think in the very beginning, people all think metaverse is a certain type, a certain look. It's like, does it have to look a certain way, a very Lego-like fossil design of metaverse? It doesn't have to be, right? Because metaverse can be a lot more realistic or a lot more simpler, depending what kind of user you're targeting. So I'm curious, I think this may be one thing we will see in the next cycle insist someone to build this out and actually connect all the projects together but allowing them to grow very individually, because they probably focus on very niche, and that's what we want to see. So I guess that would be very interesting, and I think there's some platform I can see that's already doing that, but we need a better connection between metaverse, potentially a portal in the metaverse that allows you to travel to the others. That can be one way of doing it. So that the whole experience is more seamless, it feels more like metaverse, more immersive.
Thank you. Jason, for NetEase, what are you most excited about in the near future?
Personally, I think I believe in Web3 and Metaverse will generate more and more influence. In the future, I think first these two virtual products need more and more creator. NFT should be must be the best tool to motivate more creator to get involved. In this situation, I think so you can there were many products and can influence not only the Web3 user, but also can lower the barrier to let Web2 user to get involved. I think this is very important. Like this, they can be more. They can generate more and more influence per revenue for these companies.
Thank you. So, Linda, Jason touched on the fact that NFTs need to evolve. What do you think is in the near future? What does the future hold for NFTs? How do you see them influencing consumers' engagement or digital entertainment in general?
Yes, I think one big problem for NFT is utility, right? How do you price your NFT? And before, when everyone was rushing for the gold, it's almost like you don't really look at the underlying value. You literally just buy into air tokens. So I think to make NFT evolve, the most important thing is obviously what kind of value user can get from buying those NFT. It's all these like membership, benefits, or these promises that projects are supposed to be given to actually come to realization, right, in the next stage. And I think a lot of projects or companies didn't do that for all the reasons, like either they were really rushing for they didn't really think through how to execute it, because it can be difficult to link up your NFT with a lot of real life assets. You may need it to enter a certain lounge using your NFT. So we need a lot more integration to make these benefits possible. But obviously there are other type of benefits too, can be more virtual, allowing people to actually participate in some of the important decisions of your projects. Like I said, maybe voting on the direction of a movie, of an entertainment project, so that people can actually understand the benefits a little bit more, and this can be priced into the NFT. So I'm hoping this to happen, because I think this really makes the whole industry more solid, make the project more solid.
Thank you. I think some good views there on NFTs. Andrew, to you, you're in a position of privilege. You work in a market where entertainment is at the forefront. People really care about their brands. They really engage with, their favorite artists. Not only you get to see trends, but you actually get to build them as one of the top players in the industry. So tell us a little bit about what are you seeing in Korea that you think will soon be seen in other markets, perhaps like Hong Kong?
I think in the past 2 years, what I've seen and what we've at SuperNormal actually driven is actually physical membership-based NFTs or collectibles. So Korea, there's a big festival like Coachella in the US called Waterbomb. So Waterbomb is the biggest summer festival in Korea that hosts K-pop entertainment, girl groups, boy bands, and artists. And there's like 20 artists that comes to the festival that day, and fans actually shoot like water guns and play music. So we actually collaborated with Waterbomb and created not only NFT collections, but also physical booth appearance. But for the NFT collection that we collaborated with them, not only was the art really, really high-end and premium and intricate, but the utility that was backed was VIP membership ticket to Coachella, which is extremely, extremely hard to get, and it also include VVIP, F&B, and access to the lounges where top celebrities in Korea were actually hanging around. So that's the last couple of years what we've actually done. But in the next year, I think the next trend is going to be what, for example, SuperNormal works with SM Entertainment, where boy bands and girl groups are going to be actually have their own NFT community that is voted and governed by the holders of the NFTs, just like DAO. And then the value chain is actually going to be circulated on chain to the holders who actively contribute to the direction of these K-pop collections. So that's what we're trying to do in Korea.
Thank you very much. I think the future is bright for Web3 and digital entertainment, especially because of these shorts. I think the future is in very good hands. With that, we're being asked to wrap up. Thank you so much for your time. Stick around. The future of digital entertainment is not just about Web3, it's also about AI, so the next panel will cover that. And once again, big thanks to all the panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A big round of applause for Guillermo, Jason, Linda, and Andrew. Thank you for the insightful sharing. Thank you very much.